So
Absolutely.
we're going to jump right in. Our first topic is how dope is a steep slope?
How dope is steep slope?
I love it.
Love, it's a really important conversation to have when you buy a house and when you resell a house. Can I share my story really quick?
Yeah, please do.
So, I acquired a property, Melanie and I acquired a property, and the reason why we bought it is it had the house on one lot and it was selling the adjacent lot right next to it that didn't have a house on it, right? So we wanted to sell that, and the biggest hurdle that the builder had that was buying it was it had a pretty steep slope on the backside of that lot. So slope is very important for egress purposes, like getting in and out. How are you going to get the driveway to come into the property? How are you going to exit the house? So slope is sometimes I think, would you say it's a underestimated kind of characteristic? People just
It can
don't have.
be. And it's again a thing that either bothers people or it doesn't.
Right.
Right. And
Yep.
when you're trying to sell a property, you want to have the largest population liking the place as possible. So if you cut half the people out of the market, it's going to affect it. Now, Keith, I know this property that you're talking about, and
I hope so. You sold it.
I know. when you bought the property,
Yes.
was that even a consideration? Were you thinking, oh, somebody's going to have a hard time building on this because of the slope?
It wasn't, but it should have been. Because
I was not the one that sold him the property.
yeah, you were not the one that sold the property, but I understood the base value of a vacant 10,000 square foot lot in
Yeah.
King County. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good investment.
Yeah.
It's why Mel saw it and she sent it over to me. I have to give mad props, hashtag love you, honey. You're the one that found that one. And so we bought the house. But when I went to the open house that they had, that house, so this was 2018, that house had been sitting on the market for the better part of 45 days.
And that was not a market that things were sitting on them.
No, not a market at all that I was sitting on for 45 days. And I asked the gal that was doing the open house, I said, so she goes, well, a lot of people don't like the steep driveway because you literally came off the street and you nosed in at a pretty steep angle and then leveled out into the garage.
Yeah.
And she said a lot of people just don't like the steep slope of the property as well as the driveway. And so I was, oh, okay, I get that, and I could overlook it. I don't want to be too stereotypical, but I drive a big old truck and a 4x4, and I didn't think about Melanie's minivan getting into that, because if she cuts the corner too close, she'll hit the rocker panel. So
yeah,
things to keep in mind that when the open house agent is telling you the feedback that they're getting from other prospective buyers, think about that on the exit strategy of the property, because it could be very relevant.
You absolutely need to. I have a few stories behind this and a picture. My first story is when my husband and I moved out here. We were looking for a rental property because we had no idea about the area. And we got sent a bunch of properties by a realtor. We saw the pictures. We loved this house, and it looked like this beautiful driveway that was pretty level. And when we showed up to it, it was like, I mean, if I stood in the garage, it was a short driveway, like 1.5 cars, and the street was taller than I was by that point. I mean, it was crazy.
Wow.
So we liked the house. We rented the house. When my husband's car got there, we found out his car could not get, it was too low. It could not get into the driveway. So he had to park his car on the street. And he did that for a few years.
Wow. Yeah, consideration.
So that's one, is the slope, but what I told you there was the picture made it look really nice and level.
Yeah.
Pictures can do that photographers can do that with very, very little to no editing. It's just angles. Right?
Angles.
When you're looking at things online, be very, very aware of what you're looking at and look at not just the front angle. Try to see things like if they're showing a bit of the driveway in another picture, try to see it from another angle to see what it looks like. Another story that I have is, as we all know, the market just kind of switched up a little bit on us, and I have this gorgeous house on the market. I had so many people interested in it. So many people said the house is absolutely perfect. But I didn't like the driveway, or my wife didn't like the driveway, or I'm nervous about the driveway because grandma often comes over and she doesn't drive well at night. And I'm thinking, put a light on the driveway, right? But so many people said it that it's the perception. And that makes a really big difference. Now, we see in this area, in our state, we have so many hills, right? On this side of the state. Not as many on the other side.
Yes. You definitely have many more hills than we do over here in Coeur d'Alene.
Right. So we have so many hills, and it's not rare for us to see houses built on the side of hills. You have to be careful, though. I'm going to show you a picture. I'm sure this property was absolutely amazing when they bought it.
Yeah.
And I know, it looks like it was a gorgeous backyard. I mean, this clearly is fake grass here, but beautifully done. I mean, it looks real there. This looks like it was done really well. The retention wall looks amazing. I'm sure when they bought it, they never ever expected this to happen.
Could one call this a terraced lawn now, or?
One calls it a massive problem, because is a bank gonna loan on a property?
No.
Like this?
Nope. Not like that. They would ask for an engineering cert of the retaining wall to make sure the rest of the property is not going to slough off into whatever that little canyon or ravine is.
What I want to point out is this is a table and chair right here. Oftentimes a table and chair are just a foot or 2 or 3 away from the house. That means this house is probably 6 to 8 feet away from this line that it's falling.
Yeah, that could be problematic.
That's going to be problematic in so many directions. If this person bought the house for, $1 million, which would not be strange in this area at all, trying to get somebody to buy it is going to be tough because nobody's going to lend on it.